just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach. Like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and I smelled.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Wednesday, November 29th. We have a huge show. Obviously, they can't really tell. But
it's a good excuse.
Yeah.
We're moving, shaking.
We had some stuff happening. We made some adjustments within the studio, within the shop here at Cars and Culture at Perkins Row. We just went from one corner to the other. No big deal. We have some, more shelves, more room. So much more room for activities in the shop. So that's why we're a little late. We're okay. With new moves comes
adapt or die.
Absolutely. Comes new issues. But we got a big show for you today. Obviously, LSU women's basketball plays tomorrow. Their first big test of the year. They play Virginia Tech, number 9 Virginia Tech. Tomorrow, Angel Reese got announced that she is going to be available and active for tomorrow. Samaya Smith is out for the rest of the year with an MCL tear, I believe. Is that what it is? It was an MCL tear?
ACL.
ACL or MCL?
ACL.
ACL and MCL and meniscus. All three.
Okay.
Not great.
New knee.
Not great. So she's out for the year. Angel Reese is back on the court. Obviously LSU women's basketball got off to a rough start with the loss to Colorado and Vegas. They have since won, I think, 4 or 5 straight. Dominant performance out there in the Cayman Islands. They are now back. The first big test, we have Joe Schwarz coming on the show here at 6:30-ish. He's usually pretty prompt. So
Sometimes
we'd imagine,
early. Sometimes early.
Sometimes early. So 6:30, Joe Schwartz talk about all things women's basketball, what's going on. Obviously, there's been a lot of drama, a lot of conversations about what is happening, what is not happening, what is true, what is not true. I don't know how much he's going to give us, but we're going to ask and see what happens.
Feet to the fire.
Feet to the fire. It is championship weekend in college football. You have all the conference championships that are happening this weekend. There's a lot of big matchups, a lot of big moves could be made this weekend. Obviously, Oregon and Washington play for the Pac-12 championship. Washington had beaten Oregon earlier in the year. Washington is ranked, I think, 3, and Oregon is ranked 5th. I think.
Florida State's 4.
Yes, Florida State is 4. Oregon is 5.
It goes Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State.
There you go. Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State. And then Oregon comes in at 5. I believe Texas is at 6 or 7. Someone's at 6. I don't know who's at 6. Regardless, a lot of big matchups. You know, you have number 8 Alabama against number 1 Georgia. It feels like they put Alabama at that 8th spot
to give them the old swift kick.
Make sure that they stay out of the championship. I mean, of the playoff. It's hard for me to believe that if an SEC champion is left out if they have only one loss. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, Washington can beat Oregon and make that deal a moot point. Doesn't matter. You know, Texas has to play. Who does Texas play?
They have Iowa.
No, that's Michigan.
Oh, no. They have.
Michigan's got Iowa. Texas got Oklahoma again?
No.
Oklahoma State.
Yes.
That's
who
what
they
I
got.
said. Yep, that's the ones.
Oklahoma State. You forgot the state?
That's the
ones.
Yep.
You said it.
I said it silently, but the camera wasn't on me. So.
Yeah. Oklahoma State. So look at the graphic. Nice. Good job.
Put that together myself.
Texas has Oklahoma State. Obviously, if Texas wins, they've got a 1 loss. Now everybody's going to have the conversation. How does a 1-loss Texas team not get in over a 1-loss Alabama team? Because they have the head-to-head. These are all conversations that will happen, obviously, if both teams go ahead and win the championship. I think Alabama opens up as a 6.5-point dog against Georgia. Texas opens up as a 14.5-point favorite against Oklahoma State. Florida State plays Louisville, right? People are trying to kick Florida State out of the playoff, which I don't agree with. They're undefeated. It wasn't just Jordan Travis that made them go undefeated. It was their defense. It was a lot of their running backs, some of their wide receivers. Like, they have a lot of guys on that team that have earned the right to be in the playoff even with an undefeated season, even without Jordan Travis. They play Louisville. Vegas, I think that's going to be kind of a coin flip. Florida State is favored by 2.5.
Wasn't the whole playoff situation created for they wanted the best 4 teams in?
Yep.
Well, can't tell me you think Florida State at this
No.
point is
Listen, now if they go out and they play really well and they kind of make a big statement and say, hey, you know what, we got our backup is in there, but we figured it out. We're good. We dominated Louisville. I just find it hard to believe to say, okay, they went undefeated. They beat Louisville in the ACC championship game. They've won a couple games without him. Obviously, the Florida State game wasn't great because both starting quarterbacks were out. I'm with you. I just think that an undefeated ACC champ, with or without their quarterback, if they win the championship without it, gets it in. I don't know. We'll see. They're only 2.5-point favorites. Obviously, Vegas isn't 100% sure they're going to win that game.
Then you get to the conversation of...
Does Louisville jump? No.
No.
Nope. Don't
it would
think
be
so.
Alabama if they beat Georgia. That's where the whole thing starts and ends.
Yeah, but how can Alabama jump Texas? That's the argument.
Well, that's where this whole debate begins. Is it the best 4 or the 4 you want to see, or the 4 best teams? Like,
right,
4 best teams,
the
or
the 4 most deserving, or
right.
the 4 best teams?
Right, but my thing, let's say Texas and Alabama both have 1 loss, right? And they both won the championships. Yes, we would like to say Alabama is better than Texas, but head-to-head, 1 loss, Texas did beat Alabama at Alabama. So that they're going to look at that very favorably.
It has to matter
on Texas side. It does technically has to mean it. If it was flipped, you'd want the same thing, right? Like, hey, we beat you. You have 1 loss. We have 1 loss. You've only lost to us. Texas lost to Oklahoma, and that's the other thing, right?
But I do think recency bias plays into this thing, right? And unfortunately for Texas, I do think that loss, if I'm correct, came a little bit after they beat
Alabama. Yeah, they
so
beat
I do
Oklahoma.
think.
A few weeks after, I think.
So I do think there is a chance that if Alabama were to beat Georgia, that they could jump Texas.
Now,
I
does
really
Georgia
do.
get knocked out?
Georgia has to stay. Yeah.
That's
got
the
to.
other question, right? Like, if
I
Alabama
have
beats-
heard grumblings though. If there is an Alabama win over Georgia, is there no SEC teams?
That's the
in
other
the
conversation
champion-
because you have an undefeated Georgia team who's been basically number one all year, except for that 1 week where they decided to not put them number one overall.
Had a little fun.
Number one, yeah, right. They're back in there. If Georgia does not win, you're telling me the two-time defending national champions,
undefeated. Well,
undefeated for
until
basically 3
until
full
the extra
seasons,
game.
right? So the championship game loses to Alabama, who is Alabama, who also has only one loss. You're telling me that they lose that they're out? That's hard for me to believe that. But then, how do you not put Alabama in if Alabama beats them with one loss? It's just a very, very interesting. Now, here's the other part, right? Obviously, Ohio State, I think, is out, even with one loss. Michigan, undefeated. Michigan's got to play Iowa. It's going to be probably a very ugly game, I would imagine. Iowa, the over-under, I think, on that is 35.5.
Oh, that's high.
Yeah, it's because they assume Michigan's going to score. I think Michigan's a 21-point favorite.
I think I saw that like 26 or something.
26-point favorite. A lot,
Something crazy.
A lot of points. A lot of points. Now, I don't know. I don't think Michigan loses to Iowa. I mean, if they lose to Iowa, they're obviously out. Like that makes the decision way easier. It's just, man,
They need
there's a lot of chaos that's about that could happen.
Oh yeah, like I mean, just think
too.
of it. Let's just say, like, what if Alabama goes and beats Georgia by 2 touchdowns, literally just 14 points, right? And what if Michigan blows the doors off of Iowa? What if Washington makes a statement and does what they need to do? And then what if Florida State does what they need to do? Who's in? Who's out?
Right.
Can't say, oh, well, Alabama needs to jump all these. In Texas, I forgot, Texas is the last one. Say they go into this extra game and they make a big statement. At that point, who's in and who's out?
You're saying if Alabama beats Georgia,
Convincingly.
right? Let's just say beats. Let's just say for the argument.
I don't think there's much. I personally don't think there's much of an argument if it is a very, very good game and it's a 6-point or less game, which I expect it to be.
Here's what I want to get to, and I don't think it's all going to happen. But this is fun to think. Alabama beats Georgia. Iowa somehow upsets Michigan. Oregon beats Washington. Louisville beats Florida State. Now there's no undefeated teams anymore.
Good luck.
Texas is in.
They'll actually open this thing all the way up to 12
Texas
teams
would
this
win,
year.
so they have one loss. So they have nobody's undefeated. You have one-loss teams everywhere. You have some championship teams, some not championship teams.
Then it goes back to who.
Boy, what a crazy!
I think that makes it easier
And
for
look,
them.
really, the only unrealistic result of that
Iowa.
example is Iowa.
So Michigan's in. You can, if you want to do the exercise. Michigan, it feels like is
The
in.
coach? Is he back? No, he's not back. Is he back?
No, but it doesn't seem to matter. He's there Monday through Friday.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, if you can't beat Ohio
That's gonna
State,
be nuts.
Yep.
That's gonna be crazy, right? Like, I
'cause
mean,
you have to do the exercise of if it feels like Michigan has the easiest path with their bowl or with their conference championship against Iowa, then it becomes a beauty contest between if Alabama beats Georgia, Georgia should probably get the 3rd spot or the 2nd spot, and then it becomes Alabama Texas beats Alabama. But it happens so early in the year.
Alabama's SEC champion.
They give you the opportunity to get better, as the committee says, like body of work.
And does Oregon jump in there? Because Oregon's the Pac-12 champion.
Yeah. What situation is more fun? Trying to figure out who to kick out or trying to figure out what tickets need to be bought for who needs to go where next year? Meaning, like, when this situation happens next year, we're not kicking someone out. We're trying to figure out who's got a home game and who's got to travel to who.
Boy, that's a lot of logistics that, like, you got to – because, you have a gap. You have some time. You have some time in between. But
I don't know how much. We don't know the layout of that, right?
listen, if you didn't think that –
The higher seed gets the.
Yeah,
no.
right.
I mean the layout in terms of when that first playoff game gets played and like what week that is. Like how long do they have? Is it 2 weeks after the championship games or like when does that happen? That's what we don't know yet. We don't know the layout of that.
We'll get into it. It's Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday. If you have any questions for us, please put it into the chat. We are now switching from a lot of LSU football conversation. Like the next 2 weeks, there's going to be a lot, right? Coaching changes, transfer portal people, in there or not in there. Mm-hmm. Guys who are committing who maybe not have gotten an offer, which is kind of wild to me. You told me that story off air.
Yeah, bring that one on here.
May or may not. We're not going to talk about that if we don't need to talk about that. I'd throw that out there. I don't know if I'd put you in a bad spot with that.
No. It's all just speculation.
Okay, it's all speculated. Allegedly.
It's rumor season.
Allegedly, all rumor season. Coaches going other places.
Madhouse
players
getting a
following
raise.
coaches. Huh?
Madhouse is getting a raise. It's all
I don't
speculation.
know about that,
yeah.
but Madhouse staying, new guys coming in that maybe are familiar with LSU. A lot of things happening. Recruiting for early signing day is next Friday, I believe. And so there's just a lot of action over the next couple weeks. LSU is going for the a 10-win season in the bowl game, which it looks like they're going to be paired up with Notre Dame. So a lot of conversation still with football, but we are going to slowly start to transition into some basketball conversation, but a lot more baseball conversation. Obviously, once the first of the year turns, that's when you really start hearing a lot more of college baseball and LSU baseball. They're going to be really good again. Obviously, we're going to do the same type of coverage we had last year with the team, which we're really, really excited for. Along the crazy lines, right? Boy, Bobby P. Back at Arkansas, huh? What a wild time.
Cat with 9 lives right there.
I mean, time heals all wounds, right?
You just wait long enough, and you'll be able to
For
get
those
back
of
in
you
there.
who don't know,
Or who
maybe
forgot.
too young to know,
Or who forgot.
Or forgot, Bobby Petrino, one of the hottest offensive mind coaches in all of college football in the 11 and 12 or 12 and 13?
11 and 12.
In the 11 and 12 season, takes the Arkansas head coaching job, right? He was there in 2011. You felt like, okay, Arkansas has an opportunity to do some things. And then, so he's there for 11, then he's there for 12. And all of a sudden, in the 2012 season, there's a little bit of a scandal where, the infamous neck brace picture, Bobby P. Was taking a stroll on his motorcycle.
Sun got in his eyes. Wait, the wind blew me off.
Yeah, he
Turns out it was a little back heavy.
a couple different stories. Gets in a accident, does not look good, hides the fact that he had a co-ed who was significantly younger than him at the time. I believe Bobby P. was married at the time.
Yes.
And he hides the fact that she was on the back of the motorcycle. That comes out later. And then he ends up getting fired. He gets put in football purgatory for a really long time and starts to get some other opportunities because time heals all wounds. Starts to get some other opportunities, goes to A&M, and that dumpster fire that they had over there, and takes the offensive coordinator job this year. There for 1 year, now takes the OC job back at Arkansas. Redemption season, baby. Crazy. Wild that he's back over there. Like,
Jessica Durrell. That she was on the back of the
well,
motorcycle.
we didn't have to drop names.
Oh, man, there's an article in The Athletic that does the rise and fall of Bobby Petrino, and it is wild. Jeff Long was the AD. It was his first big-time AD job that, obviously, Les Miles, maybe best friend, aside from Cam Cameron, but he's the one that hired him at Kansas.
Yep.
And it was his
We're not
first,
in Kansas anymore.
Not in Kansas anymore. It was one of his first, time on the job. This happens, and all of the scandals come out because one reporter got a tip while they're leaving the press conference that they didn't want Bobby Petrino to do with the neck brace and the face and all of that. And one reporter from their biggest news outlet in Fayetteville was like, "Were you alone on the motorcycle?" As he's getting on the golf cart to leave, he's like, "No." He's like, I'm asking you right now, like, were you alone?" And he said, "Yes, I was alone." And so the story continues to go. And then so this comes out that old girl had a fiance that worked on staff as well. And then
No, you're good. Keep going. And then
then all hell broke loose. What?
nothing. Just keep going. No, it's good. I like where you're going.
Oh, yeah.
Keep the timeline.
And then
then-
so they all find out. They call in his wife for a meeting. He's like, "I don't want to bring my wife."
Well, you got to.
There goes the firing.
Yep.
So-
Gets fired.
Can you imagine him walking back in the room with the those same boosters and shaking hands with those guys again and be like, "Hey,
I'm back.
how
back.
you doing? So good to see you.
You going up, shaking
What
hands
have you
with-
been up to?"
Shaking hands with the Waltons. Shaking
How's the
hands
neck?
with. I think Jerry Jones might be okay. He could probably turn up.
Jerry's
turn
probably
one eye.
seen some things
The Tyson
too, where
Chicken
he's just
guys.
not,
Yeah, all those guys. Hey, look, I'm back, boys. And look, hey, I'm gonna be asking y'all for some money because we need it. and y'all got a lot of it. And we have a chance to have one of the bigger NILs in all of college football.
If you really want to do this thing here.
Yeah, from what I heard, the Waltons don't really give a shit about the NIL stuff. So I think Walmart's kind of past the whole, hey, whatever. But the other big money guys, Tyson Chicken, Jerry Jones, those types of isn't it E.B. Hunt or J.B.? Is it aren't they from there? They're from Arkansas too, I think.
Got me on that one. I don't know.
Well, and you have KJ Jefferson flirting with the portal.
KJ Jefferson is in the portal. Then
He's
he
still
takes a
eligible?
picture of his roof, of his ceiling.
Yeah.
He took a picture of his ceiling and said, "I have not made my decision yet." KJ Jefferson, quarterback for Arkansas. Obviously, when coaches leave, a lot of their quarterbacks will follow them. Riley Leonard from Duke in the portal, right? He had a really good season, banged up his ankle, kind of derailed his season, but when he was there, they had a chance to beat anybody. It felt like they had a good defense, which was the reason why Mike Elko got the job at A&M, right? He was the A&M defensive coordinator. Now he's back at A&M. He also played there, right? So there's a lot of connections there. But he leaves Duke, goes to A&M. Riley Leonard was his quarterback, who you would imagine Riley's going to try to follow his guy to the SEC, right? If Riley Leonard's that good, this is a great place for him to be. He hasn't announced it yet. It's between A&M, it's between Notre Dame, and it's between Auburn. But I think it's A&M. I think it's A&M, obviously. Sam Hartman, obviously didn't work out the way it wanted to. I still think he's going to be a good pro, but, he didn't do what they wanted him to do at Notre Dame. Had some moments. Lloyd was big on Sam Hartman.
Tough to turn that thing around in 1 year, as we've figured out through two LSU great quarterbacks. Like there's some turning around you can do, but it's tough to take that thing all the way there in 1 year.
And I'm glad you mentioned the LSU quarterbacks, because it is Heisman season. It's award season. The closer it gets to the Heisman Trophy ceremony, the closer it gets to the Blitnikoff, the closer it gets to all of these types of awards, and you start putting up the finalists, right? You have Malik as a finalist. You have Marvin Harrison Jr. as a finalist. You have the kid from Washington as a finalist. I forget his name. Anybody remember his name?
Washington.
The wide receiver from Washington.
Odunze?
Is that
something like that?
So they're all
I
three
butchered
there, right?
that, but it's something like
something
that.
like that, right? So
Odesi?
yeah. And so you put their numbers to each other. You're like, okay, well, Malik leads in receiving yards.
He leads in a lot.
He leads in receptions between those three. He's one touchdown short of Marvin Harrison Jr., but if you're paying attention to the game, I think at least the graphic I saw, Marvin
I saw
Harrison
two.
15.
I saw both of them, yeah. I saw one where he was one behind and one where he was tied. But either way.
If you were paying attention to last week's game, he scored a touchdown where he as in Malik Neighbors, scored a touchdown where he looked unbelievably explosive. When you see it from the top, I saw an angle from the top. He catches the ball. He absolutely just beats everybody to the – now, people had angles on him. And he beat the angle, took him to the sideline, scored. It got called back because of the Kyron Lacy hold, and then Kyron Lacy ends up catching the touchdown the next play. That doesn't get called back. He leads in every single stat, right? Now, obviously, Ohio State is not going to win a championship. They have one loss, which I don't think that matters. I think that if you say, I think the only argument you have for a guy winning an award over somebody else, if the numbers are close based off of wins, is only if you go undefeated or win a championship. And Ohio State's not going to do that, so I don't think he's out. Washington has a chance. And then you look at the quarterbacks. Oh, that's Malik Neighbors. So I'm glad you pulled that up, right? Malik Neighbors has all the green is what he leads in.
Yep.
So Marvin Harrison Jr., who wildly people were throwing up in these Heisman conversations, only leads in one category. He doesn't really lead. He's tied with touchdowns. Everything else, he's very good. I think it has nothing to do with his talent. And we've talked about this. Jared's talked about it a lot. Do I think he may be the best? He's the best receiver in the draft? Potentially. Doesn't mean he should win the Blitnikoff. The other kid from Washington, he's got some things. Obviously, they have a bunch of different crazy stats. And you look at Malik, and it is all Malik. You look at the quarterback comparison for the Heisman, same thing with Jaden, right? The only thing that Bo Nix, and you sent it to us in the when they were talking about the College Football Playoff Committee, and they were talking about Oregon being ranked where they're ranked, and the guy pointed out Bo Nix's completion percentage. Why the fuck does that matter? Why they're ranked on his completion percentage? Doesn't make any sense to me.
It's weird to me. Like, we've seen both of these graphics for both of those guys. It's weird to me. Now, I don't expect people to, like, be on some LSU bandwagon or be on, literally just advocating left and right for these guys. But it's weird to me when we watch national, supposedly unbiased media right now, not looking at this for what the numbers are on good teams. It's not like we're sitting here watching two players on 2 6-loss teams. I get it if that's the case, right? Like, there's a lot that needs to be done, understood. But we're talking about top 15, top 12 team, right?
Right.
With 2 guys who are literally otherworldly statistically this year in the best conference in college football against a great schedule that they've played, and somehow they're the underdog in these situations, and it's kind of wild to me that that's where it's at.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Because it seems like it's a narrative.
It's fan
It's hard
bases
to-
that are driving this entire thing. It's Oregon versus LSU. It's Twitter.
Right, but it's hard and look,
But even when you get on and watch literally national television right now, these unbiased people are literally saying like, yeah, these guys, but I hope that the Jaden not playing doesn't taint. Hey, just throw the stats up there.
Oh,
Now,
Ohio
you don't have to do
State
much
6.
else.
Ohio State 6. So they're trying to put Ohio State in this position to sneak in there too.
Like just throw the stats up there and just let them see the stats for what they are, and make sure when you have the stats say 15, 14 games or 13 games at this point, and make sure you have 12 games at this point, and he'll still be leading in a lot of these things.
Well, that's the thing.
I think Bo Nix going to run for 1,200 yards.
Yeah,
I think he's got a chance for
I
that.
think if you put the numbers up there, it speaks for themselves. Like, it's not like they're kind of pretty even number wise. Like, no, Jay leads in everything except for completion percentage, which the guy reminded us in the committee. But like, if you're using common sense and you're using, just using your eyeballs, Jaden's the guy. And look, Robert Griffin, as much as you want to aggravate you, he all about Jaden, which is great, right? All the SEC pundits are going to push Jaden, which they should. Right? All of the Pac-12 are going to try to push Bo Nix because it is more beneficial to their conference. Now, Oregon won't be in the Pac-12 next year.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter.
But they're still pushing it.
Right, they'll still push it. But if you really think of it and you say, okay, well, every excuse on why Oregon, outside of them potentially being the playoff or winning the Pac-12, he is second behind Jaden. Oh, Oregon, you put up all these numbers against these. Jaden put up all these numbers against these terrible teams and crunch time. That's not true. That's false narrative, right? Because that is not the case, right? Oh, well, Bo Nix played a tougher schedule. Not true.
Not even close.
Not even close to true, right?
Like, it's actually way the opposite flip, too.
Bo Nix hasn't played against one top 25 defense all year, or maybe one. I think he played against one top 25 defense all year. Jaden Daniels played against 4. So any type of excuse that you want or any type of reason why you think Bo Nix should get it, I think is just a false narrative. If you're looking at the numbers and you're not being biased, we are biased, but if you're not biased and you just want to look at, take the name and the pictures of whatever player it is and just put their resume,
Pretty easy.
it's a pretty easy decision in my mind. Right?
Jaden Daniels would lead the last 11 Heisman winning quarterbacks in these stats: passer rating, yards per attempt, adjusted yards per attempt, yards per carry, total yards per play, and yards per game. That's not just Bo Nix. That's the last 11 Heisman winning quarterbacks. So if he's better than the last 11 that have won the award, feels like he should join that company.
And when we talked about last show, when we talked about the other 4 SEC quarterbacks who accounted for 50 or more touchdowns, blah, 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 all those guys were first-round picks. 75% of them were 1-1 picks, and all of them were Heisman Trophy winners. Well, when we're looking at another guy who's put up those kind of numbers and there isn't someone in the country with better numbers, explain to me how he's not the guy. I just want to know. Explain to me how he's not the guy for the award.
3 losses.
There could be an argument I mean, it's not going to happen, but there could be an argument to sneak Brian Thomas into the Blitnikoff conversation, but that's not. I mean, that's too much. You can't have two receivers in there. That'd be like the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson type thing, but like his numbers at the end of the year are very similar to the other ones.
It feels like the ball is very much for like the Heisman thing. It feels like the ball is very much in Bo Nix's court, at least a little bit. He's gonna have he's holding for the last.
And see
shot.
that's what I don't like.
But I wanted to lay out the scenario. What numbers does he have to put up to win it, and what does he have to do if he plays well and loses? Does that matter? Or if he plays okay and they win, does that matter? Like if he goes and has his last game against Oregon, I think he threw for 313 and 2 touchdowns.
Against Washington, you mean?
Washington, I'm sorry.
And that's what
if he does that again,
that's
that's
a Heisman
not.
guy.
I don't know if that's enough. If it's 4 touchdowns and it's like, how can you not give this guy the Heisman?
If he wins the game for him, like if they don't have
There's a Jalen Milroe moment.
But I think that it shouldn't matter. Like championship games should not go into effect. Like they shouldn't affect.
Didn't affect Jason White.
Well, the rumor is, from what I've been told in the past, is that the Heisman votes are all in before that game starts. Is what I've been told.
So they say.
But that's what they say, right? So like when Joe Burrow won it, and everybody's like, "Oh, that was his Heisman moment." I heard from people who were kind of in the know saying that, "Oh no, the Heisman votes are already in before that game started, before he did the things that he did." So if that's true, then, but I don't know if that's true because they're talking on TV like it's not, but they want the games to matter more, I guess. I don't know. I just don't think that there's a conversation.
So the Pac-12 championship is on December 1st. Heisman votes are due December 6th. Or December 4th, excuse me. So you'll...
Right, but I get that, but they say that...
It shouldn't matter. Like
well,
the championship
they
game,
said
but
that
it's already been built up too much for
Yeah.
that to be a narrative. Like they're going to look at that game and decide.
Right.
Because they wanted it to be Bo Nix, Michael Penix. Michael Penix kind of played himself out of it. Not that he played poorly, but Jaden played himself into the conversation to be the leader of this conversation. And now it's, okay, we've talked about this Pac-12 championship for so long, now it matters.
Right.
With what Bo Nix does. So I think that's kind of why the narrative is still driving, because everybody wants to see it. And it makes the game more exciting.
I mean, I'm going to watch it. I'll be in New York. I'm going to watch it. Maybe I'll go watch the Heisman.
You stay in New York. It's hard to get a
stay in
ticket
New York
to
for the whole week.
Yeah.
Not going to do that.
Apparently that's a very exclusive room to get into.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I don't know, man. He obviously, in my mind, won it. And I think that if you've watched him play, but you can say, well, have you seen Bo Nix play? Yeah, I have. Unfortunately, I've watched him 4 years at Auburn. He was kind of stinky. Well, obviously, it's a different year.
TJ Finley ran him off.
Yeah, TJ Finley is at Texas State?
Yeah.
Which TJ Finley reminds me a lot of KJ Jefferson. Like,
stature?
Well, stature and like a guy who can throw 2 routes. You can let it eat, and it's really about it. Maybe a deep ball and a deep post. Didn't really have the feel to be able to throw all the routes, and he could run. He was surprisingly – KJ Jefferson's probably more athletic than him, but like that's kind of how it was, right? And talking to my friends that are Arkansas fans, that's how they see KJ Jefferson. He can't throw, they say. Oh, he throws 3 routes. That's it.
Bobby Petrino can fix that. He's the whisperer.
Does Bobby Petrino want to fix it?
I think that's why KJ put that out, that he was like, oh, this is a hire that could maybe make me. I didn't even know he had another year eligibility. I really thought he was done, toast. He's been here longer than Bo Nix has. Feels like. But he'll match that meter. But it feels like he put that message out there because Petrino is a hire that makes your eyebrows go up a little bit, where hey, he can make you make that jump. So KJ was probably looking at a ceiling fan, apparently, contemplating. And he's like, all right, maybe I'll stay.
Maybe.
We shall see.
We shall see about that. It's award season. It's recruiting season. It's heating up.
A lot of irons in the fire at this point.
A lot of irons. It feels like LSU's in a position right now to
They're in the market.
make a big jump in the recruiting world. I think that that's tied to potentially having a former LSU coach come back. He's unemployed. He's a free agent. So it seems like Corey Raymond would be a good fit here. Now, I'm sure there's other issues that may arise, but at the end of the day, he's familiar with the area. He recruits really well from the area. he has developed a lot of unbelievable cornerbacks. And for those of you who say you don't want him, I just think that's a short-sighted viewpoint. People like that, and a lot of people on Twitter are kind of like, oh, why do we take him? Like, he got fired from Florida. Well, there's some circumstances on probably why that happened. Right? I don't know what those circumstances are. But, I mean, look, NFL coaches get fired all the time and have success other places, and they're not unwanted.
And blaming Raven for the last 2 years that you went to at LSU, that place was a dumpster fire. Like, there was nobody really getting anything done at any coaching level anywhere. So,
and even with that, they had 3 guys in the secondary get drafted.
And what I think has happened, and this is purely conjecture on my end, is that people are tying Corey Raymond coming to LSU with the other end of the spectrum being that Matt House is staying. So they're taking all their vitriol out on Corey Raymond because they're upset that House is staying. So it's totally 2 different circumstances, but you're just letting all your anger out at one thing.
This is all
maybe happened. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they're putting the pieces together. If Corey Raymond's staying, that means Matt House. I mean, if Corey Raymond's coming, that means Matt House is probably staying. So they're more upset that Matt House is staying as opposed to Corey Raymond coming in.
Right.
Because if you brought in a new defensive coordinator and
they're
he
bringing
went
their
hired,
own guys.
But if he went and was like, I want Corey Raymond to come here, then people would love the fact that Corey Raymond's coming back.
No doubt. I think that's a very good point. Our guest is here. I think it's a very good point. But the Matt House thing, like, people need to get over it. Now, we don't know if he's staying, or if he's going, or if Corey Raymond's coming. It
just
seems
remember,
like he's staying.
Just remember, this exact same fan base, this passionate, loyal, loving fan base, was not very sold and not super bought in on Mike Denbrock at the conclusion of last year.
Right.
And they wanted to see where would it go this year.
Even the first 2 games this year.
So just remember that. That's the same fan base that thought that about Mike Denbrock. And he's up for the same award. He's a finalist for the same award that our DC was up for last year. What's up, guys?
What's up? Welcome. Hey, be careful. Make sure that's not expired.
Yeah, that happened to me.
Lloyd drank an expired one. He's been thrown up for 3 days.
I missed it. I heard it was explosive.
It was not good.
But
It was tough.
to your point, yes. Like, I think let's give Matt House an opportunity. I think the other part of this is this decision has to be made before, like, the next couple of days.
Yeah. That's
before the weekend. You would imagine that this decision is made. The moves are going to be announced before recruiting day, because
And the longer
you're bringing Corey Raymond here for not just because he's a good cornerbacks coach, but because of his recruiting prowess.
And the longer that it waits, like you wait for the clock to strike midnight on Matt House, the longer you should come to terms with that he's probably going to stay. Like, if it was going to be an immediate firing for one of the worst defenses you've ever seen,
he would be gone.
You cut bait.
He'd be gone.
And for those that don't know, because I had a very up and close vision of how this whole thing happened, and people think that somehow the message and the thought process around Corey is that he's only a recruiter, and that's what he does, and that's what he's best at. Whether you think that's what he's best at or not, I personally can tell you, and it's not just from an LSU days, it's from my high school days of when he was my DC. The guy's really, really good at coaching as well. And he's really, really, really good at disciplining kids, and that's what he's done. And he's obviously, go look at the guys that have played under him, and you'll see, like we keep talking about, oh, he's a recruiter. Well, those guys didn't just get here and become great by themselves. They had to develop.
Right.
They had to get better. Who was out there helping them do it?
Right.
Respect that.
Do you have a graphic before we get to Joe? Appreciate you coming in, Joe Schwarz.
Traffic in Baton Rouge, I hate it.
What's that?
The traffic, and it feels like it's 9 o'clock because it's so dark outside.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. Welcome. You like our new setup?
I do. I like this one a little. It's a little cozier than shoved in that corner.
Yeah, you don't feel as
It's
boxed
open
in.
out there.
Yeah.
You feel like you get almost 2 different shops, right?
And you can like see everything.
Yeah,
you
it's
have your
great.
back turned. Yeah. I was always told when you sit in a restaurant, you don't want your back to the front door. You got to know who's coming in.
I
and
always
out.
like.
Are you Italian?
I got to be able to see who's coming in and out.
I don't like having my back to the front door. I'm with you. Every time I try to. Before we get to Joe, I want to finish this conversation. Obviously, ask all the questions you want in the chat. It is Ask Mikey and Mitch, so we'll get into this. But we don't have the graphic of all of the cornerbacks that were here at LSU underneath this. I know there was a graphic of that.
That was my tweet.
I know. Oh, you had the tweet. There you go. Can you pull that up for us?
I will.
Because I want to go through these guys that Corey Raymond recruited here and developed while he was at LSU. Like there's some ones in there that aren't from LSU or didn't go to LSU.
Right.
But majority of them are. And I'm going to go down. I want to explain exactly how the development happened, right? Because not all these guys were, he brought in some really high profile athletes, right? 4 or 5 stars, but he also brought in some 3 stars that he developed into being really good cornerbacks. That is
quite the list.
Yeah. Well, the list is.
That's a lot going on right there before I even see who's on.
So Jay Ward, I believe he was like a 3-star. I think Cordell Flott was a 3-star as well.
Follow Elcourt357 on Twitter.
Stingley, obviously 5-star. Jacoby Stevens, 5-star. Grant Delpit, 5-star. Fulton, 4-star. So all those guys, Tre'Davious White was not a 4-star. I know that. Rashard Robinson. I mean, majority of those guys are very, very, very high-profile high school athletes. The few that were not, that are on this list because they're in the NFL, were developed by Coy Raymond. So if you have any reservations on Thurl Simon, not a huge recruit. Thurl Simon got developed into that guy.
Mo Claiborne didn't even play the position.
Mo Claiborne was a wide receiver.
But I also think people think like it's goofy. Like those guys, because Corey was a huge part of the recruiting process for those guys came here because they trusted that he would be a huge part in helping them get better to move on to the next level. So to sit here and think that they came in here as this absolutely highly touted prospect and was what they were when they left here, the same person when they showed up here, and there was no getting better and there was no process that involved Corey and what he was able to help them with, is crazy to me. Why would you not want something like that back here?
Right.
Nobody. The last I checked, there's nobody in any profession that's batting 1,000. So if you're not happy about what it looked like the last 2 years before he left, give the man some grace, huh?
Right. No doubt.
That's a pretty impressive resume right there.
No doubt. All right, we're going to keep this conversation going in about 30 minutes. But before that, in between these conversations, we have our guest. I mean, Joe, it's a real thing.
It's scary.
Start of the season 0-1, right?
Yeah.
Tough loss. Didn't come on the show. He's in Vegas. Didn't have time to come on the show.
Wanted to,
but you had responsibilities. You're a coach. You had to do things that you needed to do. Now, you've been on the show, haven't lost. Last year, on the show every Wednesday, during the run, won a natty. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a real thing.
People who don't watch sports might not know about it, but like superstition is real.
No doubt. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
I'm glad to be back.
Y'all got a big game tomorrow.
Yeah, you could have timed it any better.
Yeah, I feel rejuvenated. There was a lot of tension last time I was here, and got to go to the beach for a little bit, win 2 ball games out in the Caymans, and now we're back.
You have your high-profile freshman really started to shine.
She's playing well.
She did okay.
Yeah.
I think that Kim, at least from my perspective, you're there.
Yeah.
You are in the middle of it. I am talking as a fan, as someone who's watching it, athlete, but still a fan, right? I think Kim knew what she had in the squad. Like, not saying any of these reasons are done because of that, but she understands, like, hey, listen, a program isn't built around 1 or 2 people. It's built around what we create, how we create it to be called a program, right? And so she brought in all these recruits that were very highly touted, and you're starting to see some of them really start to shine and kind of come into their own. Yeah. And you saw that in the Cayman Islands. Is that kind of what you've been seeing? Obviously, you're behind the scenes, so you see the work they're putting in. Is that kind of what you've been seeing?
Yeah, there's no doubt. Obviously, the first game in the Caymans, we played a team, and people look at the schedule and see Niagara behind the scenes. What they don't know is Niagara led the nation in forced turnovers last year. They forced teams to turn the ball over 28 times a game last year. I don't care what conference you're in or who you're playing. If you're turning
28 times a lot.
If you're turning over someone 28 times a game, you're doing something right. So we knew going into that game, like, we were averaging like 22 turnovers a game on us. Like, that's bad. We try and be under 16 a game. And so we knew going into it, if we take care of the ball, we should have a good shot against them. But if we don't, it could be ugly. And you look up now, especially on the men's side, but you see it a lot more on the women's because of the parity. Thanksgiving and Christmas are the times where a lot of these upsets happen. It's just
Get got.
you get got, and especially on the island. I mean, we went out and swam with stingrays, and we were out in the sun all day, and then the next day you expect to go play a game. Like, it's hard to focus for those 40 minutes when you're at the beach, when you've got family, it's Thanksgiving, you're out of school, all that stuff. There's so many different variables that go into staying focused to try and win 2 ball games when you're on these tropical trips or whatever you want to call them. But Coach said it before we left, like, we're going to have fun, but it's a business trip. We got to win 2 ball games. So we beat Niagara, and then we get Virginia. Well, people look at Virginia, oh, it's Virginia, y'all should blow them out. Well, we didn't expect Samaya Smith to blow her knee out 5 minutes into the game. I mean, you hate to see it because she's been developing. She stayed here all summer, turned down a chance to go play with Team USA to get back in the starting lineup. She wanted to take LaDasia Williams minutes from last year, and she knew we had Angel coming back. She knew we had Anissa Morrow transferring in, but she said, I'm going to assert myself into this starting lineup, and if not as in the starting role, I'm going to come right off the bench as the 6th man, and I'm going to give you great minutes. And she was doing that. She was rebounding the ball well. But you just hate to have her go down. And, the good thing is we found out she is going to get a medical red shirt, so she'll get her year back. It's a lot of damage in the knee, and it's one of those things, it's fixable. That's the good thing. There's a lot of things in life that aren't fixable, but this one is. And she's in a good spot right now, and she's hobbling along. And I told her, I said, now the job is to be the best player on the bench. You got to bring the energy. I don't care if you're celebrating with your crutches in the air.
Pull a full Jameis.
Yeah, exactly.
No doubt.
So, but it was nice to see in that Virginia game, we were putting kids out there in different lineup combinations that we never thought we were going to have to use. But that's the beauty of the game, and it was so impressive to see because we've got so many new pieces and so many young kids. Like, we're throwing kids out there 4 guards, 1 post. We're putting Michaela as a 4 player. And these kids on the fly were able to adjust. And like you said, people who aren't there may look at it, oh, it's Virginia. Well, what they don't know, we didn't even have a chance to prepare for them because you played Niagara on Friday and then you turn around and play Virginia on Saturday. So it's not like you have 2 or 3 days to give.
Back-to-back's tough too. People don't realize that. Like, they're not used, like, playing back-to-back games isn't very common.
And that's the thing, like, while you've got to be so careful when it comes to scheduling, and these tournaments are great, but how realistic is it? Besides your conference tournament, which, the conference tournament's great, it means something if you win it, but when you're playing in games that matter, when are you ever going to play back-to-back? Right. Like, even in the NCAA tournaments, you've got either a Friday, Sunday, or a Saturday, Monday, so you've got that day in between, and that day in between is huge. So it took a high level of maturity from our players to, after we beat Niagara, to refocus. And this is before Samaya went down. So we give the scouting report that night over Virginia. And then the next morning, there's so many games going on. We don't even get to shoot around at the gym we're playing at. Yeah. So we go to some rec center, and the floor's slippery, and coach is a strong believer, don't shoot on goals that you're not going to be playing on game day. So we didn't even shoot. We just walked through some of Virginia's plays and walked through some of our quick hitters and stuff. And you go to the arena a couple hours later, and then boom, 5 minutes into the game, you lose Samaya, so you're having to adjust there. But it was a team effort. It was a coaching effort, everywhere from matchups to style of play. I mean, we had to change a lot of things on the fly.
And this is why if you're at LSU, like women's basketball, that's why you're grateful to have a Kim Mulkey, because you go into the transfer portal and you pull out an Anissa Morrow who can drop 37 on your head out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Where that's not – I know what she did at her previous stop where she was primary scorer, like that's what she's used to, but to get inserted the lineup for extended minutes like that on the team she hasn't played on, and then just be like, all right, I'm comfortable playing basketball. And for her to have that amount of depth on the LSU women's team shows you that this is why you go to the portal. This is why you recruit the way that you do.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen. So the depth for LSU women's team is what stood out for me in that game.
Yeah. And I think depth, you've got to look at it in many different ways. I mean, we knew going into the season what we had, and obviously that's looked a little bit different on paper. But at the end of the day, like, we're still in good shape. I mean, we've got good guard play. Our post play has been good. And then our wings got to get a little bit better. But it's been fun to see, like, Michaela Williams drops 42. Anissa is 37. And the pieces around them are what's making that happen. You don't have the selfish play that all these writers and people think they know everything about. Oh, is LSU going to be able to do this with all this top tier talent? Whatever. Like, yeah, Flage, she may not have scored well. Her shots weren't falling, but she still went and got 15 rebounds. Like, do something else that impacts the game.
We used to say
winning.
put something in the bucket.
Exactly.
Right? In baseball, like you can go 0 for 4 being in a slump, just put something in the bucket.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whether you steal a bag, you make a good play,
Yeah.
do something, just put something in the bucket. Jay, you got something.
So I'm glad you bring up the Samaya Smith injury, and you talk about all these young kids and the transfers coming on and stuff like that. When you're molding and putting a team together as early on in the season as you are, Kim, and obviously y'all collectively as a coaching staff, what are some of the things you look for in the players that aren't necessarily getting the top tier minutes to start, that you know if you're going to get to where you need to go, they got to come on at some point? What are the things you look for in those people to be able to know that, hey, they're ready and it's their time?
I think a lot of it starts in practice. Just the willingness to go get some extra reps. You got to realize we've got some older kids on the team, some kids that have been banged up, been in college 3, 4, 5 years. Like, hey, maybe use Haley, for example. She's a fifth-year senior. She may not need to have as many reps at the point. So, Angelica, you're a freshman. Your legs are fresh. Go get Haley for a few reps. Haley can learn on the go. Look at someone like Flage. She's not a veteran by any means, but Janae Kent, she's got long arms, long legs, great body. She's a freshman, though. So go get a few of Flage's reps in practice, and then when you go in the game, translate from practice to game, and don't mess up. Like, don't do anything negative when you get minutes in the game. So you go in the game, say it's 2 minutes. Don't turn the ball over. Don't let your man score. I'm not saying you got to go hit 5 shots, but don't do anything that's going to make coach want to take you right back out.
This is a side note. You don't have to comment on this. Our friend Glenn Gobel got blocked from covering anything LSU women's basketball.
Who's been here the longest? Who's their first time here? Raise your hand.
What a stinky person that is. You
I
don't
think
have to
y'all
comment
need to
on
go
that.
watch Coach's press conference.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah. I just was. We've had a conversation. I'm gonna go.
Well, then Glenn's doing his job. He's got you.
That's what he's trying
He
to do.
just wants to stick it in your craw.
I just thought that was funny.
But did he tweet it out? Because that wouldn't surprise me at all.
No. Mike Scarborough.
Yeah, Tiger Bait.
Yeah. Confirmed with LSU beat tweet that he's suspended indefinitely.
Hey, could get reinstated any time.
Look, all of these things, you talked about the development, you talked about, what you do when stuff's not happening, not going the way you want it to go. All that is great, right? And something that they're going to keep learning from. There's been a lot of conversation around LSU basketball, women's basketball. People love to hate. People love to come at Kim Mulkey for no reason, it seems like, because they don't believe in some of the things that she believes in, but it's okay for them to come at her. But when someone, anyway.
Yeah.
All these things are happening, right? Angel Reese is suspended. She was not with the team in Cayman Islands. She is now not suspended. She is active for tomorrow, correct?
Active for tomorrow. She's
active.
back.
She's back. She is active. She's ready to go. Obviously there's a lot of stuff speculating. You not to tell us anything behind the scenes, but what is the morale of the team? Angel Reese, what does it look like with Kim, and how is she going to fit back into this team?
Perfect. She's going to fit back great. I mean, the past 2 days of practice, what's today, Wednesday?
Yeah.
So we didn't really do much Monday when we got back. We got back Sunday from the Caymans. Took it kind of light on Monday. Angel was back on Monday. She was back yesterday. She was back today. Angel's Angel, and she's in a great place right now. The energy at practice the past couple of days, when you get one of your best players back and have the energy that she provides, and it feeds off. And it feeds off to not only the coaching staff, but, I mean, hell, we were exhausted as a staff because all the speculation of what's going on with them.
Right.
And Coach doesn't have social media, so she expects us to send her everything. And you got to be careful with what you send her because there's a lot out there. And, you try and block out the noise, the rat poison, this, that, or other. We get that. But it's like I couldn't even turn my phone off at night because I'm afraid what's going to be the next headline, what's popping up. And not that any of that matters to us, because what happens in our locker room is going to stay in our locker room, and coach is going to coach the way she coaches. And
but you're worried about what the players are going to see.
Exactly. And for some of the media people to attack Angel the way they attacked Angel, and to attack our coaches, not even Coach Mulkey as a head coach, but some of our assistant coaches getting attacked from a recruiting standpoint, it's like, are we really living in y'all's head that rent-free? Because I've never seen it like this. And I was at Texas, and Twitter may not, or X, whatever they call it, may not have been as big of a deal, but it's like every day something new. I mean, Mulkey announced today that Angel is playing tomorrow night. I'm scrolling through Twitter before film starts. Her press conference was at 1, I think. We started film at 1:30. Overtime, ESPN, Sports Center, Slam, W Slam, like Angel Reese. Okay. If that's what y'all want to write about, great. But,
well, and look, that's part of.
It was
media.
on the national radio today on the drive over, like it was a part
no
of
doubt.
the 30-second headline.
Here's the deal.
Like it made it in there.
The reason why, not only is she a good player, right? But she has been one of the faces of NIL, right?
Yeah.
With Livy Dunn, both her and Livy Dunn are both on the Forbes 30 under 30.
Yeah.
Like, that's never happened before in college sports, and now it's possible. And so that she is one of those athletes, right? And so that's why the scrutiny. That's what comes with, like, scrutiny comes with that. Being talked about comes with that, and every little thing that happens is going to be magnified.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the situation that they're in.
And yeah, of course, like you're in that light, and there's more when the light's that bright, there's more questions and eyes on what's going on. So that's kind of how that thing goes. But when you have a player and a team that's gone through the situation that you guys have gone through with Angel so far, when it comes to that player and integrating them back into comfortability, I guess, if you will, of being around and doing what they're so used to doing, how do you manage what kind of performance, what kind of emotional state this person's in, and how hard is it to get it back to where they were pre whatever the issues were, and where everything was copacetic and just rolling well?
I'm a firm believer, just be where your feet are. Don't worry about what happened in the past. Y'all have both been in locker rooms. Y'all have been on teams that have done great things, championships, whatever. Shit happens. Excuse me, but
No,
You're excused.
when do you have to?
You're excused.
for the young ones listening. But no, it's like stuff happens, and there's times where players get heated, coaches get heated, and the steam's gonna blow off at some point. And regardless of what happened, like, we're back to normal. Everything's fine. Forget about what happened in the past. But let's not let what happened in the past affect what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
So let's get back to not the old Angel Reese. She didn't change. I mean, she is a baller on the court. She is a tough, hard-nosed, just go do all the dirty work on the defensive end. She can score on the offensive end. Good luck stopping her. And just be you, Angel, and try and block out the other noise, because I think as a 21-year-old, and I'm not anywhere near in what she's making any of that, but you got to – all these athletes with NIL, you've got to be feeling something, and it's hard to block out all the noise. So you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, but at the same time, you're just trying to be a student-athlete.
No doubt. And that's the danger with NIL of, like, just jumping.
You go from a
into it.
Camry to a Mercedes.
Yeah, you just don't, and without having any type of guidance that way, right? Like, not saying she didn't, but like it's going from one end to the other end. That's anybody.
You don't have people with you
Well,
24/7.
it's a whole new lifestyle that none of us pre-NIL have any exposure to, right? Like none of us went from it doesn't even matter what she does. None of us went from driving a Camry to a Mercedes but still balancing 12 hours, and that money's in your pocket. And now you have the freedom and the liberty and all the access to do the things that you're doing.
And then you add other teammates in the locker room who are making what you're making. And it's not about the money, because people have all this speculation what they want about the issues. But I'm just talking from a former student athlete about all types of kids. Yeah. And we love it. We love that we have Flage doing her rap and basketball, and she's on the NIL list. You've got Haley, who's with Adidas. She's doing her NIL stuff. You got Angel. Michaela Williams is next. You got Anissa Moore. Like, you're talking about kids that are high-profile athletes, but they're 18 to 21-year-old college kids. And you have to be able to balance it, and that's what's so fun. Being around Coach is like she doesn't sweat the small stuff. Like life's too short to sweat the small stuff. So she's gonna approach every day like it's a new day. Forget about the past, but focus on the task at hand. And right now, the task at hand is a pretty fun.
What I was gonna get to. You said forget about the past. Not so recent. I mean, not so distant past. Y'all had to play Virginia Tech last year in the Final Four, right?
Yeah.
Really good team.
Yeah.
Beat them to go to the national championship and ultimately won the national championship. Now you get to host them. They're the 9th ranked team in the country. Y'all are the 7th ranked team in the country at home at the PMAC tomorrow night.
These rankings that are out are kind of crazy. I don't really understand them.
Well, and we've talked so much about rankings during football and baseball. Like the rankings don't mean anything.
Well, it's like Colorado beats us and jumps to 3, and then they lose one game and drop. I don't know.
To me, it's all gonna take care of itself.
Yeah, I'm
right?
not.
But y'all are 7, they're 9. Y'all play them at home in the PMAC.
Yeah.
Kind of it's a Final Four rematch. What is, every year, no matter how many people return to that team, it's always a different team.
Yeah.
The team looks differently. What are the challenges that Virginia Tech poses to y'all, and what are some of the game plan that y'all are trying to do moving forward for tomorrow's game?
Well, it's like you said, the team's not exactly the same as last year, our team or their team, but we've each got some parts that are the same. And Virginia Tech has arguably the best point guard in the country, just true point guard. She's a little Australian girl, and she can shoot it. She's quick. She's got great dribble moves, dangerous in transition. But last year against us, I think she only attempted two two-point shots. So she's jacking up threes. They shot 31 threes against us last year. Now they made 9. So
is that they're doing it still this year?
Yeah, they're very similar. They've got a couple returners from last year, but they've got a big post player, about 6'6". Kitley, she's real good. I think she's finally a senior now, but maybe a 5th year. She's good. I mean, we got to see them in the Caymans a little bit because Virginia Tech was also there. 25 plus a game. I think she had 18 rebounds in one game, 14 in another. But she hadn't seen Angel yet this year. She saw Angel last year in the Final Four. But you can use stuff in the past to go into game planning. And what people might not know is Haley's played against Virginia Tech, I think, 3 times. They were in the same conference. She's averaging 19 points a game against Virginia Tech, so she's very familiar.
You feel like she's getting a little more comfortable within the offense, and now anytime you move is obviously more difficult.
I think she's the Caymans. She got going a little bit, and I think she's real excited for tomorrow because I think tomorrow will be the first time she'll get to see why she came here, and understand the atmosphere. It's our last game before finals. It's a late tip, 8:00, so. We should have a lot of fans, a lot of students. But I think Haley's starting to fit in a little bit better. With Angel being back, obviously Virginia Tech knows what we have with Angel. They haven't seen Anissa. I mean, they've probably seen her on film, but you can watch as much film as you want on Anissa. She's still going to go to work. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And she's an undersized post player that can score at all 3 levels. She's as strong as any player on our team. And then you've got Michaela Flage. Flage was a big part on the defensive end last year in that Virginia Tech game. I mean, what people may not remember is we beat Virginia Tech pretty handily, but we were down 9 going into the 4th quarter. And in that timeout in between the 3rd and 4th quarter, Coach kicked all the coaches out of the huddle and went up to the players, said, y'all get in tight. She said, we got to play like we're down 10 with 2 minutes left. And she said, guys, we're playing. Our season's on the line right here. And so we go out and 7-0 run in like the first minute. A minute and 5 seconds, I think, 7-0 run. And we just kept getting stops and stops and stops. And you're looking up and you're like, wow, we're cutting into this lead. We're cutting into the lead. Flage gets a steal, lays it up. We take the lead. They hit, they hit a 3. Keep scoring, whatever. We look up, we're on a 23-3 run.
Right.
And we stopped. It's a crazy stat that I don't know why I remember this, but in the first 12 possessions of the 4th quarter, we stopped them 10 out of 12. 8 of those in a row, and we scored on 11 straight possessions. Not necessarily made field goal, but either a free throw or a made bucket. And it was just demoralizing for them. Well, I go back and look at the box score today or yesterday. Virginia Tech only played 6 people. They don't play a ton of people. Now, we don't play a ton right now because we're a little banged up, but depth is going to come into play tomorrow. Rebounding is a big thing. Last year in that fourth quarter, we out-rebounded them 11-0 in the first 7.5 minutes. They didn't have a single rebound in 7.5 minutes into a quarter.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's hard. I mean, that's video game numbers right there. So we're going to have to rebound well tomorrow. I think that's going to be the difference tomorrow is rebounding. They're going to hit shots. When you shoot 30-plus threes a game, you're going to make some of them.
Right, of course.
But they got to guard us, and that's the biggest thing.
And they're playing at home.
Right.
Like it's an atmosphere that
Yeah.
I think y'all have done a really good job of building that and creating that and getting the people. And obviously, you win.
Yeah.
People follow you, and I think it's a good product. Jay, you got something?
So usually this thing kind of goes the other way around, right? Like usually the conference schedule is what seems so much like a season within the season itself, but so much has happened so early into this year already, and you haven't even gotten to the conference schedule. How is Kim going through all this? It's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff going left and right, and usually a team will follow what the leader is doing. How has she been through this entire time and leading with the way she does?
It's honestly really impressive. I think she's at a point in her career where she's been called every name. She's won 4 championships. She's in the Hall of Fame. She's won a gold medal. She's done a lot. But what continues to amaze me is that no matter who's in the locker room, players on the roster, or who is around the program, or what the media is saying, she's just Kim. And she's cool, calm, and collected. There was a cool picture of her sitting on the scores table in the Caymans. And the scores table in the Caymans, you can probably imagine, was a folding table with a tablecloth over it. But me and G look at each other and there's like, if there's anything Mulkey's going to do during the game, it could be a 1-point game. She's going to sit on that scores table. And just her ability to not get extremely high about the highs and not get down when things aren't going well. It's just she remains so level-headed through all of this. And it just, I've known her for a long time, but I've watched from afar, and now being a part of it, now I see why she's so successful. She doesn't let the small things get to her. She doesn't really care what the outside world thinks of her. People who know Kim and know her beliefs and how she coaches. But that's that competitive edge.
It reminds me of a lot of like a Nick Saban type. Like there's elite coaches wherever they get into it. You're like you said, you would, from the outside, people that watch would be like, oh, she definitely gets like the way she coaches, she's way on the edge of like redlining. But whenever you're in the huddle, it's like, it's not like that. That's the emotions of the game where she's not like screaming at the team or over coaching. She's almost a fan of the game at the same point where she wants something to happen so badly because she's a former player.
Yeah, exactly. And it was, I think it was a Virginia game. We're sitting there and we're up 5, I think. We had missed a shot, got an offensive rebound, and we kick it out to Michaela wide open at the top of the key with about a minute and a half, a little over 2 minutes left. Up 5, 2 minutes left, kick out 3, Michaela misses it. And the bench, as a staff, we're like, oh, why did she shoot it? Michaela looks at us, she's like, oh, so I'm not supposed to shoot that shot? You've got to be able to teach at the same time, and that's something else the coach does so well. No matter how tense the game is or how big the moment is, she's still able to teach. It's like Flagey last year, turned the ball over on the first 2 possessions of the national championship game. Coach calls a quick timeout, goes up to her and is like, hey, calm down. You're fine. Well, what does Flagey do? She made some big plays the rest of the game to help us win a national championship. So what she told Michaela in that instance was, I'm not telling you not to shoot that shot. That's a great shot. An offensive rebound, kick out, wide open 3. But you've got to know time and score. We're up 5. We're trying to kill 20 more seconds right there because we were banged up. We were in foul trouble. We're just trying to get to the end of the game with a win. So coach's ability, it's like she doesn't feel pressure. And she stays so calm in those moments. And it helps us as a staff because knowing that she's our leader and she can slow the game down, it helps us slow the game down. And we can see things that the players obviously don't see on the court. And then when they come to the huddle, we've got 9 other coaches where – hey, I might go up to Michaela and say, hey, this ball screen, you did this wrong. Or Coach Starkey may say, hey, you need to be matched up with this person. Or Kaylin might be able to draw up a play. We've got every coach on our staff is versatile, but they know time and place. So there's a time and place for everything. I'm probably not going to be the one talking in the huddle. I know better. I'm going to stay back.
Can you imagine Joe really just steps in there and starts talking over
Kim, I got it.
I'm like,
Joe, go over there. Talk about the plays.
All I tell Coach before every time out, before when she's walking to the huddle, is whose ball it is and where it's being inbounded. If she asks another question, I keep my mouth shut unless I'm looking right. Like she could be like, "How many threes have they made this quarter?" I might answer that question, but
put something in the bucket.
Just something in the bucket. Something like, hey, their ball, side out of bounds. If she says which side, right side. And sometimes she has the board twisted, and I'm just like, it's right there. But no, it's a great mix on our staff, and it's like you said, there's not many up there with Kim. I mean, obviously Gino's great, but she's up there with
you could be in any sport.
Saban,
right? The way she
Augie,
commands,
Skip.
the way she commands the room, the way she commands the respect of not just her team, but of all the other coaches around that in that university or wherever she's at. So I think that
Press
says
conference.
a lot. Was that
Press conference.
Yeah, press conference, which we'll get into in a little bit. You talk about time and place.
Yeah.
There's a time and place tomorrow. What time's the game? Where's it at? What do you want? Give me. Look, this is what you do. Hype it up, baby.
So there's a fire video. You know, LSU Creative, Sheldon, he's our guy.
Crush it.
Spike Lee. There's a fire video that we dropped today about 5 o'clock, and it's not necessarily a hype video because it's early in the season.
Yeah.
Hype videos are good, but it is a video that encompasses the LSU women's basketball PMAC atmosphere from a perspective of visiting opponent head coaches.
Wow.
So the video is on my Instagram. It's on LSU's Twitter. I think I tagged y'all on Instagram, but we'll retweet it and get it out there. But 8 o'clock tomorrow night at the PMAC. I think doors are going to open between 6:30 and 7. I think we're trying to
get there early. Get there early because it's nice to have it in there early and you pack it in so when the visiting team comes out, it's not you don't want to sit there with you don't want to try to find your seat with 2 minutes left to go.
Exactly.
Into the first quarter.
So Lloyd likes to do this little sound bit. So if I had to guess tomorrow, students get there early. I know a lot of y'all don't have class, probably aren't going to class, dead week. I know you're studying for finals, but
there's a check for that.
Dead week ain't really dead, but I got you.
Yeah, take a little break from finals. Start getting in line. I think there's some giveaways in line for the first couple hundred students.
Have they announced the giveaways yet, or no?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
that's out of my marketing, but I can find out. And it's supposed to be a little chilly, so if you need to get something to warm you up, a couple drinks in your system, that'll be good.
Yeah,
it's whiskey weather, baby.
Yeah, whiskey weather.
And just have some
Spike
fun.
the hot chocolate if you want.
That's right.
8 o'clock at the PMAC, Virginia Tech, rematch of the national semifinal last year. Top 10 team, ESPN game.
What more needs to be said?
I mean, you can go out after. I mean, game's over by 10. Use the game as a pregame.
Thirsty Thursday, baby.
Thursday.
Let's go.
I know I've seen some stuff
finals. What's dead week?
Yeah.
Social media has had, I think, Fred's, Bogies, the Rev, all those places are.
Let off some steam. Go celebrate. Go.
You've studied
go
a lot.
Yeah.
Monday,
go
Tuesday,
yourself.
Wednesday, knocked it
You
out.
got the
break.
weekend.
It's good for the mind to get a little break away from studying.
And especially if you saw the crowd for the Saturday for the LSU football game, you can tell that their parents are just like, go home, go back to school. So, you got your reset for Saturday, probably studied Monday, Tuesday, maybe a little Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Ain't no better place to be.
No, I mean, the PMAC on a Thursday night, 8 o'clock, with a good product. That's the other thing. It's not like we're putting a bad product on the court. I think people are very hesitant when they think about women's basketball. The game is evolving, and we still don't have players that are necessarily playing above the rim. But, I mean, you can ask those 8,500 elementary school kids that went and saw Michaela Williams put 42 up the other night. I mean, that was pretty darn impressive to me. So if you want to see something fun tomorrow night, 8 o'clock at the PMAC, it's going to be packed. I think there's still a few tickets available, single tickets. But my biggest thing, and it's what I like to take a little bit of responsibility for as the students, I think tomorrow is Greek night. I don't know what all that entails, but fraternities, sororities, if y'all want to show up, be loud. It's going to be rocking in there. I'm excited for it.
It ain't
Jumping.
rocking without the students and without the fans.
Dumping.
So y'all go out there and show out.
Little DJ?
Show up and show out.
Flagey at half?
I don't know if we can rock
I don't
that
know
one.
if that's the move, right?
Halftime
She's got to
is
do
the
some
wrong
things.
sport.
And yeah. I don't know, that's the move.
But you talk about, real quick, like you talk about, it feels like it's the first real, like obviously the unveiling of the championship banner, all of that opening home game. It feels like this one has been circled for a long time. And I know y'all don't like to look ahead, but now it's here.
Yeah.
Like Virginia Tech, you laid it all out there, the Final Four matchup. And now you insert Angel Reese's return. I feel like that's going to give you even more of a thump whenever it comes to, like, if she, whatever they announce her, whether it be the starting lineup or coming off the bench, however y'all handle that,
Yeah.
it's going to put more people in the seats, and it's going to put a little bit of air of, like, okay, this is what LSU women's basketball is going, like, supposed to look like.
Yeah, I think we started a couple years ago. We've been here. This is our third year. I'm using my hat, balcony Bengals.
Rest in
Our
peace.
first game.
Wait, is it over?
They're graduating.
Yeah.
They're done.
There's nobody that it's not like a fraternity that they pass it down.
I don't know if those guys can be replaced. I was going back and looking at pictures. So, year one, we started our one of our first home games. Like the first game where there was like, oh, actually a student section. There were 6 of them in there. 6 students. You literally count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we slowly were able to build that up with the help of Mark and Jason at Fred's, all of IFC and Panhellenic. I had a group text with every fraternity president that I would send our game schedule to. We even went as far as taking coach to every fraternity house on the lakes, and she'd walk in at their chapter meetings and be like, hey, y'all never seen women's basketball? Get to a game. Get to a game. I guarantee you'll want to come back. So you slowly start to build this thing, and you get not only the fraternities, but you get student groups on campus. You get different organizations, and it slowly starts to build and build and build.
And once you put out a good product, it makes it a lot easier.
It's hard to deny
You
it.
parlay that, and it's just
She did what she did with what Skip did.
Yeah.
Skip was boots on the ground. Let me go because when Skip got here, they weren't good.
right.
And he boots on the ground. Let's get it going.
No, I need a cold Coke.
And we did it.
Clean
They
bathrooms.
did it. So this is the last.
Oh, one more thing to add
Yeah.
tomorrow. Tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not mistaken because I looked this up, tomorrow, if we win, will be Coach Mulkey's 700th career win.
Well, I'll go
So
celebrate.
big milestone.
Yep.
There's a lot of coaches that are up there but have been doing it a lot longer. But 24 years, 700 wins. I think she's like at an 86% win percentage, which is right up there with Gino. It might be higher, but she's top 3 in win percentage. We win tomorrow. She will then be 8 games away from Sue Gunner. Sue is at 708, so chasing Sue. Just another little tidbit to throw in there.
Okay.
Because she'd be the last one to tell you.
Yeah. If someone would not have asked her in the press conference today, I don't think she would have known about it. Because we will celebrate when we win. I mean, our first year here, she hit 650. She hit 650. So we'd love to get her to 700 tomorrow night. Give her that good PMAC. That thing they do, and then drop one arm and let the band play that other song. Yeah. So, no, tomorrow night's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. It's a game, like you said, that we've had circled on the schedule. In this day and age, you want to look ahead at everything. When we got the schedule at the beginning of the year, we looked at our non-conference schedule, and obviously every team we play is capable of beating you, but the 2 that we circled, Colorado and Virginia Tech.
Yep.
Those are the 2 that you really are going to have to show up and grind it out. Colorado didn't go the way we wanted it to go. Tomorrow night we get another chance. We get to be at home in front of the best fans in the country, and the best atmosphere in the country, in my opinion. And I may be a little biased, but tell me there's other places in the country that do what LSU's doing. I mean, Iowa, maybe. They haven't sustained it. I mean, they've got Caitlin Clark. Well, we've got Angel. We've got Flagey. We've got Michaela. We've got Van Lith. We've got Anissa Morrow. So
All the things that pisses everybody off.
A lot of irons in the fire.
No doubt.
a lot of irons in the fire.
lot of
We
talent.
also have Kim Mulkey. So
Yep.
all jokes aside, I'm excited for tomorrow. I think the staff's excited for tomorrow. I think the fan base should be too, because, as a fan, and we try and stay off the message boards, but as a fan and someone who lives in Baton Rouge, you associate yourself with success and with winning programs and with coaches who are doing well and with players. And when you see a player or a group of players or a team that's just getting bashed on social media day after day after day, it's like, all right, when's our next game? Because even the games in the Caymans, like, we played well. Those would have been fun games to watch, but they were on Flow Hoops, and you have to pay for those.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Tomorrow we get a chance to be on national television. I think
Prime time.
Yeah, prime time, 8 o'clock. Part of the SEC ACC challenge, and
Which the men's basketball didn't do a very good job for the ACC SEC challenge.
Stop a run every now and again.
We won't beat a dead horse.
No, you're right. 8 o'clock tomorrow at the PMAC. Go support them.
yeah.
Joe, we appreciate you as always. It's going to be a thing. It's a thing. It already is a thing. So I fully expect a dub because you're on the show.
Yeah.
And we did all the work.
Well,
obviously,
and we don't
because-
have after tomorrow. I think we have 10 days off in between
Yeah,
games.
so they let it all out. You have a lot of time to just
Circle-
get your legs
yeah,
back
yeah.
underneath you.
Focus on this
Yeah.
one.
And yeah, so good luck. Appreciate you as always coming on the show. And go get a dub.
That's the plan.
All right.
Where should I go for dinner tonight?
Dozy place.
I gotta eat dinner too. I don't know. What do you want? What kind of food do you want? Dozy place would be but that's a far drive from here.
I was thinking hibachi maybe.
Ooh. Like you can go sit down or take it to go or what?
I'd probably sit down. Maybe I don't know. I gotta call the other one that's at home right now. He can barely-
Ichiban's got good hibachi.
Tokyo Cafe.
Tokyo Cafe's got good
And
hibachi.
that's not a shameless plug. That's a straight plug.
The
Because
great thing about Tokyo Cafe is you get the noodles too. That's a
Yes.
great addition.
and
over
it's
there.
such a good late night snack because they give you so much food.
You have to have discipline not to eat it all. I don't have that discipline to eat it all. And then I feel like shit late night. So
Yeah,
you gotta do the muffin
my
method.
legs are. Speaking of noodles, my legs are noodles. Angel and I ran a couple 17s after practice today.
look at that. She's just putting in that
Boots
work.
on the ground.
Yeah,
Love that.
right about that, media.
Yeah, there you go.
The things you don't see.
You won't get banned for that. You can kick it with us if you want. If not, I get it. You're hungry. So,
Yeah, I'm starving.
yeah.
Are y'all
He's got a big game
Are y'all
tomorrow,
going to
dude.
commercial or y'all just?
No, we keep this thing free flow in 2 hours.
We free flow these
All
days.
right. Well,
120 minutes of hell.
it's not hell. It's heaven.
No, it's just the old Arkansas press.
Listen,
Bobby
if you're
Petrino.
if you're in line tailgating, don't be afraid to drop or grab and bring a Heineken Silver. 95 calories, 4% alcohol. Great to drink if you have the longevity of drinking throughout the day. It's great to have.
Bring
In
you a
your back
nice
pocket.
6-pack. See if you can finish them before you get
No
in that.
doubt.
thing.
Look. You got the slender cans that fit right in your back pocket. One of the OG sponsors. They've been doing beer for a long time. They know
Long
what
time.
to do. The light beer, 95 calories, 4% alcohol. It's very good.
It's not your father's Heineken.
It's not your father's Heineken. Listen, Lloyd got hooked on the Heineken last year whenever we were, doing the chug for the booze
They
cruise.
might have hooked them a couple times as well.
Yeah, right? We did that. Now, we're going to have some other promotional stuff during the spring when baseball season comes up. And hopefully Lloyd is a trooper for
Sound
that
body and mind.
as well. Bring you a case of Heineken Silver and while you wait in line.
Hey, see one, send
Get in
one.
there.
Pass it back.
See one, send one.
And-
I love that.
Yes.
See a chug, send a chug.
Exactly.
Um,
So hopefully the line's long.
yeah, we just go
Beer
straight
snake.
up, bud.
Beer snake.
No commercials.
Get into it then.
We're
I guess,
talking fools.
guess we got to get right into
All right, I
Mike-
just
ask Mikey and Mitch.
tweeted.
Ask Mikey and Mitch. Brought to you by
What'd you tweet?
I tweeted
friends at Land Rover.
the video.
Oh, nice. I have it. I just can't play the audio because I'm sure it has some music on it or something. We'll get flagged.
Yeah, that's a problem.
But
I don't think it's music.
Oh.
It's just people talking.
Well, then I have it right here. I already have it queued
Let's
up.
play it.
Let's play it. It kind of gives you chills.
You won't be able to hear it though. You don't have the earphones on.
It's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, me either.
You know what it sounds like.
I'll be able to hear it.
We couldn't hear. We got a lot of credit to Kim Mulkey and the environment she's created. There was probably already 2,000 people outside when we pulled up an hour and a half before the game.
It got really loud. I was very limited in my communication. There's an amazing crowd. The fans are amazing here. Kim's done a great job with the fan support.
Their student body, I don't know how many they had here, but it was vocal, it was honest, it was distracting. It was a really, really tough environment. And not an excuse, but I think part of the reason that we weren't as good defensively this time. It was amazing. They fed their students. I don't know what they fed them out there, but they were here early and they were honest, respectfully. They didn't cross the line. They made a difference in the game. We're gonna steal some ideas and try to get a game like that in Bud But they were here early. Coach Mulkey has revitalized their fan base. to where it really got loud in there tonight. We couldn't hear each other calling ball screen coverages. We had to echo. We had to change our substitution policies the way we were doing it. The crowd impacted the game. What was the final score? Did we lose by 3? I tell you, they were worth 3 points.
Compliment the fans. Goodness gracious. I don't think I saw an empty seat. Now, I didn't look long, but when I walked out, I was like, ooh, these people are standing. Somebody get up and give that older woman a seat. It was everything that young people need to experience in college. Thank you to all the people who made that happen. But the crowds just kept getting bigger and bigger, and the student section, guys, is off the charts at LSU.
Oh, that's fire.
If that doesn't make you want to be at the PMAC at 8 o'clock tomorrow, I don't know what does. So I'll be there at 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
I think you'll be there a little earlier.
I hope you were there.
I'll be there a little bit earlier. I'll have my coffee, my ice shake and espresso. I get it before every game.
Big one?
Big superstition
small,
guy.
Small. I just 2 shots of espresso.
Oh, just
straight espresso, shaken on ice. Drink that. Go in. Normally drink that on the way to the game because Starbucks is right by the arena.
Yeah.
Free plugs everywhere.
Go in the locker room.
Let me say get rid of the track and then tell me how great that's gonna be.
I always drink a cold Sprite before every game.
Cold Sprite.
Cold Sprite. That's
so
fine.
it's mic'd up, 2 shots of espresso, cold
Shaken,
Sprite,
cold espresso,
and never shave on game day.
We're not gonna get into that.
Yeah,
one.
you got 10 days off, coach.
Whoa.
Just on game day.
Just on game day. Like, I'm so superstitious to a point where, like, if we're at a hotel, like, on the road, and say, like, I'm down in the film, like, in the meeting room, because we'll stay down there and just chop it up. We get there late. Say it's 12:02 when I get to my room, I won't shave. All right, I got to take this. This is.
Yep. Go do what you got to do. El Prez. Go do what you got to do. All
right. That sounds like
all right, dude. Appreciate you.
See y'all tomorrow night.
Tell me I said what's up.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello. Oh, I was about to say, you gonna move it?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm waiting for them to get out. There we go. I didn't want the conversation.
Saw you mic'd up.
I didn't want to be the conversation, He's always great.
He's the best.
He is the best.
We're part of the superstition now.
Part of the superstition. I think we've been part of it. I think he knew that. It's Ask Mikie and Mitch, brought to you by our friends at Land Rover. What we got?
Let me get to it. I have to pull it up. I was still on the... All right. Ask Mikie and Mitch. These are a couple from Twitter. From the Duke of Dallas. Where and when will JD5 be drafted? And where and when should he be drafted?
That's a tough one.
I think he is. I'll say this. I think before the season, you were looking at maybe middle round somewhere, right? Like I don't think people saw the jump being what it was. And let's just say he did have a 3,000-yard season. I think there's a possibility in that 3,000-yard passing season that there would have been some sort of, I'm not sure if he's making this read, that read, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And that, kind of pushes him to that spot. With the performance that he's had this year, man, it's hard for me to believe he'll fall out of the first round. It really is. With the model of what today's NFL game is, where you need improvision, you need somebody who can use their legs, you need somebody who can get mobile a little bit, it's hard for me to believe he'll get out of the first round. I personally think he's probably going to sit somewhere in that 10 to 20 range. I could see that happening. But, I mean, we've seen a 3-loss Heisman Trophy winning Lamar Jackson find his way all the way to, I want to say 32 that year.
Yeah.
So you just never know. I think it'll be somewhere right in the middle of it.
I agree with you. I think, look, it's mock draft season as well, right? So a mock draft came out yesterday. It had him going 6th overall to the Bucks. 7th. Malik was going 6th to the Giants. He was going. Jaden was going 7th to the Bucks, and Brian Thomas was going 23rd in that draft. So
he's going to the Steelers.
It's the Steelers, right?
Steelers.
So I'm with you. I think 10 to 20 is conservative. I would not be shocked if he ended up in the top 10. They have him. Some of these mock drafts have him as the 3rd best quarterback in the draft, and you have Drake May and Caleb Williams. And if Caleb Williams doesn't come out, then
I think on draft day it'll be he'll be sitting somewhere in between that 3 and 5 spot as far as for quarterbacks. And then now it'll be, is there a run on the top 3 to 4 in the top 10, or does it kind of get spread out a little bit? I think that's kind of what you're going to be looking at.
Could you imagine the Saints on the clock with Jaden Daniels still on the board?
We ain't drafted. They're not gonna
That's not going to happen. Just logistically, how can you do that? Just really think about that.
What? Oh no! I'm
the
saying
money there
from
spent.
the fan reaction.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah,
when
Yeah,
it's
but
going-
to
I don't
even
expect
think about
them
that.
to take a
No,
quarterback.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, to even tee that up as if that's an opportunity, that's not a thing. Like, you can't get rid of Derek Carr. The way the Saints have modeled this entire system, even since having Drew Brees, is a cash-strapped system. How do you get cash?
Yeah.
You got to have asses in the seats, right? So that means you have to have a good team, or a team that the fan base believes has a chance. So that means you have to go after players. You already paying a quarterback a shit ton of money. The cap hit will be huge if you don't have. There is no chance of them getting a quarterback. Right?
Yeah. Well, Jaden's a guy. He's an older college quarterback, right? So he's a guy who's gonna play. Like, you're drafting him to play. Like, you don't want to draft him to sit for 3 years.
Yeah, and that's my point. Like,
Yeah,
they have
right.
to draft for guys that's going to help them right now. That's going to play right now.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, the fan reaction.
Oh, yeah.
People don't think of it that way. Yes, for sure. For sure.
I think there's a better chance they could be adding in or finding someone. Like, I'm not sure. I'm not saying it'll happen, but saying you could find a Malik or a Brian Thomas or something like that as another complimentary piece. I think there's a better chance of something like that happening.
No doubt.
Oh, easy answer here from Drunk Mike the Tiger on Twitter. If I'm gonna get hammered on game days,
Oh, duh.
what's the beer of choice, fellas?
Heineken Silver.
Put it on a tee for us.
Duh. I appreciate that. Appreciate it, Drunk Mike from Drunk Mike the Tiger.
On Twitter,
Love that.
you even put a golf ball on a Heineken Silver like a tee. Take a swing.
After you chugged it.
Yes.
There you go.
Been there.
Boom. I
Bachelor
know.
party.
Done that.
Speaking of, might need a couple. Got a
You can
little
put one
Oh, we got
before.
plenty, Coach. We got a lot at the house.
engagement
it on-
party.
Go ahead,
When?
drop it on there
Saturday.
before.
There you
Square
go.
that thing up flush and then
Give
go
you a
ahead,
few
pop.
cases.
Yeah, that's the move. Is you do it full, you pop the top with the driver swing, and then you.
Well, you got to be pretty good with the driver to do that. Or you waste the beer. You don't want to waste
Couldn't
the
be
beer.
me. From the Fonz on Twitter, if BK switches out the entire defensive staff, do you think we lose a lot of current players and current commits?
I'm not sure that's contingent upon the staff that is or isn't leaving. I do know, like, in this day and age of what college football is, you're re-recruiting your own staff, you're re-recruiting your own players all season anyway as it is. I just can't see if we lose a whole bunch of the staff for what kind of performance we got this past year, that you'll see a whole bunch of players go as well.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think if a whole bunch of the staff stays, that's where the players kind of go.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of what's the plan look like, right? Bringing guys. Okay, this is what our plan is. This is what we're gonna do. More than they leave, we leave. I don't think that's the case. You know, a lot of players don't come here for necessarily just because of the coaches, especially the position coaches. So no, I do not think that we lose a lot of current players and commits because of that. Now, some players may transfer out, but it's not because coaches are leaving.
Speaking of current players that are working to get back, y'all see old Mikie back on the practice field.
Wow. Getting after it. Is Mikie going to go in the draft, you think?
I think he's practicing. This is not.
I mean, it looks like it, right?
That's what I would think.
Unless he's doing this to show that he's healthy for the draft. But like you have all that time after the season to do that.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it right now. I think that's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
Okay, next one up on Ask Mikey and Mitch. Another one related to LSU football. Do you think if LSU had a new D-line linebackers coach other than House and DB coach, it would give a boost to recruiting, thus allowing Matt House the ability to game plan better?
Yes. You want me to elaborate on that? Because I think
Yeah,
he pretty much. Yes, I think that if you brought in better talent, the position coach, as the position coaches go, you're going to be able to bring in better talent on the field, and that is going to allow Matt House to do some of the things that he really wanted to do as a defensive coordinator that he may not have had the ability to do this year because of the lack of talent and players on the team.
Not even like a talent, like a depth.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't think any of that would ever hurt. But as I've stressed before in the past, when you go to the portal and you grab 3 DBs, and those 3 DBs for various reasons are no longer playing, and you also lose your top DB from last year, it's going to be really hard to be good back there.
Actually, take 4 DBs in the
4
portal.
DBs are out the majority of the season.
Johnson, J.K. Johnson from Ohio State, got hurt, out.
Yep.
Deuce Chestnut was whatever he was
Say
doing.
out.
Denver Harris, out.
Greg
Alexander, hurt.
So can then
4.
go 5. Greg Brooks.
Yeah, Greg Brooks, right.
I mean, like, that's a lot, man. Like, we sit here and say you don't have depth. Maybe they did, because they still ran out guys that, I'm not saying the defense was good, but if you put a lot of other teams in that situation, they may give up 60 a game. They still kept you
all 5 guys
somewhere
were
in the game.
starters.
They still kept you somewhere in the game, right? So, you know, that people, it's so crazy what this place is that we so easily just think that there is literally
doesn't matter.
No, that we literally think that there is 10 dudes in that same room every single year that are top 3 round guys that are ready and waiting and already ready to play. That is asinine to think that. But that's kind of what this place is turned into, that people think that that's what it is. I get it. The result that we got on the field for the majority of the season was not great. Once again, that defensive backs room was missing 5 key players for the majority of the season. 4, if we're being honest.
Perspective matters.
Think about it.
Perspective matters. That's the best, perspective. Let's take a step back and look at everything, and then give us your thoughts. Okay?
Next one up. In the same vein, with Corey Raymond leaving Florida, do you think some of their commits will look to see where he goes, or do most recruits commit to the school and not a coach?
You want to answer it?
I think most recruits usually commit to the head coach in those situations, and then there is certain special situations with guys that have the resume that he has, not only having a playing career, but also doing what he's done as a coach and as a recruiter. Some of those guys stick to those guys as well. So, yeah, I do think there's a possibility that guys that he's got there in his room at Florida and guys that he had committed there will be able, or will take another consideration and think, hey, maybe LSU's the spot for me.
And one of those guys that is not on the offensive side, on the defensive side of the ball, one of those guys that there's rumored him to be transferring out is Etienne's brother.
Trevor.
Trevor, who's from Jennings.
Yep.
I'm not saying he's coming to LSU, but that's, that is a conversation, right? Florida is in not a great spot over there, and Corey Raymond is no longer there, so he is the recruit. He didn't forget how to recruit, so I'm with you. I think that, you could see some guys that we may want come over with him, but you may not. Maybe we don't want, maybe there's nobody that really, we like the guys that we have compared to the guys that, they have committed to them.
Good answer.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What is a realistic win-loss record for the men's basketball team this year?
That's a tough
Don't
question.
do that to me. Don't do that to me.
And do you think fans understand what was dropped in McMahon's hands?
The second part, I don't think that they understand.
No, we don't. We know they don't. That's just. There's almost no way you can understand that because we don't even understand it on the football side when there's 5 guys missing from the D-backs room.
That's why Brian Kelly should get more credit for what he's done. You had 2 6-6 teams, and then you get handed a 35-man roster and get back-to-back, could be 10-win seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
SEC championship game last year. That's hard to do. Almost impossible. Matt McMahon had it worse. He had 0 guys. He had 1 guy on his roster when he got it. Yep. Really 0. He had to bring a couple guys back out of the portal here. I think he did a really good job this offseason bringing in Louisiana guys to come back and say, okay, hey, you are talented, but you also are from here, so you kind of understand. I think the biggest detriment to the basketball team this year is Jalen Cook not playing.
Yeah, you got one more kick to the ribs. Yep. Matt McMahon was about to get up off the canvas.
Right.
No, you're not.
Right. Hey, look what we brought in. Look at the recruits that we have coming in for next year. We're doing some things, and we have this kid who was really good.
He was committed here.
Played here. Transferred out after all the mess, and then wants to come back, and now they're not allowing him to play. And they don't really have a true point guard. So I think that's part of what's going on. If you watch the games, they turn the ball over. They don't really get the ball up and down the court very well. Their half-court offense isn't great. A lot of that can be fixed with a really good point guard who can score as well. So realistic win-loss record, man, I would love to say that they would be, You're
a better sport than me because I don't really have an answer for this.
I don't know. 500 would be good this year.
Yeah.
500 would be a good win-loss. Now, if they got Jalen Cook, and that makes a huge difference. And look, basketball, one or two guys can make a really big difference. But 500, I think, would be a good starting point. Next, anything?
Yep, last one up. Off the board question from, of course, Fonz. What's your favorite non-typical protein? Something you can't buy in stores. I don't know what that last part means. So,
non-typical protein?
He's a butcher, so I don't know if they're
venison.
Ah,
I like some deer sausage.
Deer. You can't buy it. You're not really gonna buy it in stores, so grocery stores. So
eat what you kill.
I like venison. Elk's really good too. I've never killed elk.
Deer sausage. That's all I got for
you.
Yeah,
backstrap.
That's it. Nothing from the chat. Nothing from the chat.
We got a couple from the chat if you want them.
Any good ones?
Yeah, of course. They're all good. In the Kim Mulkey vein for what she did, your Glenn Gilbo news. Ask him. How hyped would you be if your coach went off on a reporter that's talking shit about you or your teammates? Would that be something that happened in the locker room where you're like,
yeah,
he or she's got our back?
No doubt. Yeah. You saw what Jason Kidd did today?
Yes.
But spilled a Coke on himself?
He was answering, and Jason Kidd's very
cerebral,
calm demeanor. So he's answering this question to this guy, whatever, and he's basically saying, like, this year is not the same as last year. We have just because the shots aren't going in, we're not doing anything, doesn't mean that it's not working. It takes some time, blah, blah, blah. And the guy, he said something about, the guy said something about answering the question. He goes, I did fucking answer it. And didn't say it in a whatever, but said it in the Jason Kidd calm. And then you write this shit, about it. He goes, if you would just understand it and listen and talk, and you wouldn't write shit. He was talking about being negative. These guys are writing all this negative shit. He goes, you're writing all this negative shit. He goes, there's too much. There's all kinds of negative stuff around the world. Let's talk about more positive things. Right. Let's write in a positive light. And then the guy said, you need to answer. And he goes, yeah,
that was my answer.
I did fucking answer it. And he's, so same, yes, that would fire me up.
Yeah, of course, that always does. Especially when you catch wind of it and you get to see it, because you get to see the coach in their element. You get to see the real them and be around them. And not to say that Kim or any of these coaches are super fake, but let's be honest, you keep your family closer, right?
Yep.
And they just get more from you, right? So getting to see that and being like, hey, Kim, yeah, I saw that. I appreciate that.
Because it could also go the other way.
Yeah.
Where it's like, damn, you had a chance to stick up for me or you stick up for the team, and you just kind of went the other way.
But not even that. When it actually happens the other way, you bash the team in those situations. Teams see that as well, right? So those are the two where you're probably, as a team, more vocal about those situations. And you when you get the one where they stick up for you, it's like, hey, we family now.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's cool.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we got from Ask Mikey and Mitch, brought to you by our friends at Land Rover Peretti here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They put up some nice tailgates.
They have.
They do some nice tailgates. They're going to do some stuff for baseball. I'm sure they may. I don't even know about basketball, but definitely baseball.
Yeah, they do.
We'll be out there. All right. Mistake of the day.
Mistake of the day.
Brought to you by our friends at Does Eat Place.
Well, we had some off-air conversation about old ESPN Bet. They tried to get into the game, and a lot of this goes a lot of different ways.
Here's the deal. It's not that they're rookies, because they're Penn Gaming, so Penn understands this.
Well, that's part of I think that some of the speculation is that Penn is so much in the hole from the Barstool deal.
They're trying to get more money?
They're trying to squeeze you a little bit on the VIG.
Wow.
And so that's where this whole thing entails. And the details of the scenario are that man put out a 5-leg same-game parlay, what went viral on social media for voiding 1 leg. Eagles -3. It was a push. So the rest of the selections won, and he obviously, had he been paid out, he would have made money. Instead, the bettor just got his money back. ESPN is the sole sportsbook that only voids same-game parlays that win when 1 leg voids. In other words, when major sportsbooks void same-game parlays, which is when you bet multiple things on the same game, obviously, in these scenarios, but they void losing bets in addition to winning ones. So most of the time you get your money back. or you get money for the bets that you won. It would void the one leg.
If you have one leg that pushed, you
Right.
won the other 4 or the other 3.
They pay those out at a different number.
Yeah, they
Count as a
calculate
4
the
leg.
odds.
It's a 4-leg game, but it's a 4-leg
Instead of a
now.
5.
Right. They said you lost one game, you're out.
Which is no, push one game.
Yeah, you push one game.
If you
you're
lose
out.
a game,
yeah,
of course,
that's parlay.
you're out.
That's how
Yeah.
parlays go.
Right.
But if you push on a parlay,
That's Bush.
Bush.
That's terrible. Like, terrible. Boy, if they're in the hole before that, they're definitely gonna be in. Like, people ain't gonna use ESPN. They have to have already made a change.
Their pretty mum is the word.
Wow. That's
So
bad
this
business.
was this guy's.
That's bad business.
This was this guy's bet. So at over 57.5, over 59.5 for DeAndre Swift, over 57.5 for Devonta Smith. Eagles -3.
And what were the odds? Did he say the
over
odds?
Over 73.6. I wonder if it's in the next one. Yeah, 40 to win. So it's plus 2,074. So you can do that math. I cannot.
Wow. I mean, I'm not doing it, but like, damn. So now they would have recalculated, so it probably wouldn't have been that high. Still over 1,000, plus 1,000 to win it.
$40 on a 5-leg parlay. Now a 4-leg parlay. That'll get you paid.
I mean, $500 or so.
Yeah. I mean, that's brutal. I would have
Yeah,
been,
probably
even
would've
I
been.
would have done something like I would have been like, what's the number? You know,
That's
like I don't
tough.
complain about a lot.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And I'd have been like, hold
That's
on.
bad business right there by ESPN. ESPN bet pen.
Free bet though, probably.
Got to figure out. They got to make some things right with that.
Yeah. It's never good to go viral your first week for something like that.
Never good.
Big rollout of the red carpet.
Yeah. Business ain't gonna be good anymore, I don't think.
Not booming.
All right, Curtain Call is brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
And
Me. What we got today, boys?
I have one, and I don't know if you've heard of this man. Goes by the name of Tiger Woods.
I've heard him.
And he is back in action and swinging the stick
Look
as
at
he
him.
gets prepared, flushing
Boy,
it,
he's still
flushing it.
Crazy.
He gets prepared to play in the Heroes World Championship this weekend.
What an unbelievable swing that is.
It's repeatable. So he had subtular fusion of his foot and ankle back together. The man is half bionic man, half whatever muscle, apparently at this point. A little top heavy, but the man's got to do what he's got to do to swing the stick. A little cranberry vodka down there. Hope he's not driving.
You think that's what that is, cranberry vodka?
But he is not missing. He flushes the ball in the range. It's unbelievable.
Well, look, he says when he hits it well, he's not taking a divot. You saw a couple of those, no divots. No divot. No divot. No divot.
Boy, those balls are going
No
to
divot.
flush.
That's obviously a driver. You're not going to
Yeah.
have a divot with a driver. You're in trouble.
But he is swinging the stick, and he said they had a
He looks good.
He does. They had a press conference with him, and they said, you know, what did you expect to do? He's like, your guess is as good as mine. And then it came out from he played a 9-hole pro-am today.
Please tell me you're like 9 under or something.
Somebody was
Oh,
like
pro-am.
on the, they don't give you like your scores
Yeah,
out.
right.
But somebody was on the walk with him. He's like, Tiger is absolutely flushing it right now. And I was like,
Love that.
So
Love
I
to hear
love to
that.
hear-
Golf's better when he's back, when he's out
Yeah.
there. Love that.
it's unbelievable. This man is holding on from life and limb. And everybody's like, yeah, do it again. Please come back. 50 years old. 46.
He's doing it. He's doing it.
He's still in there.
What you got?
I'm going to give mine to D-Jack, man. Deshaun Jackson. 15-year pro, long-time Eagle, lots of highlights. Great ball player, and apparently a very good clubhouse that people loved as well. Finally announced his retirement. Great career. Curtain call.
Shout
Deshaun
out.
Jackson.
He was the first guy that you remember dropping the ball before the goal line.
Did it twice. Did it in high
twice.
school.
I know.
It was the All-American game.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable player, though. It was
Army
crazy.
All-American game. He did a
Hey,
flip.
but he could fly.
Yeah, he can fly. He still can
scoot.
fly.
Yeah, he
can
can
still
scoot.
do it.
Oh, I love LaRon Landry, but that play against the then Redskins where Michael Vick, play action pass, first play of the game, 70-yard bomb when he turns around and looks at him because they were chirping pregame. Like,
Yep.
talk about two players that should have been playing together for a long time.
Yep.
Not Algie Crumpler. We needed D-Jack.
Yep, no doubt. No doubt. All right. Mine is to our guy, K Fitz. If you don't know who K Fitz is, you're about to find out. So this kid's living every high school kid's dream at the time, right? 2020, I think, he was in high school, and he was a photographer. He did social media. He started working with a lot of athletes. Tyreek Hill. He still works with Tyreek Hill. Did some stuff with Antonio Brown, Saquon Barkley, and basically he would, do a lot of social media, do a lot of, photography and videography for these guys. Tyreek hired him full time, right? That was his deal. And so he'd follow Tyreek around. He said it was the best summer of his life. And K. Fitz ended up getting credentialed by the NFL. Well, if you remember earlier in the year, this kid is videoing on the field with his cell phone after Tyreek scores a touchdown. Tyreek sees him, which obviously he knows him, right? Takes the video, does a backflip, and gives the phone back to him. This was not planned. This was not something that he knew was going to happen. Tyreek did it off a whim because he knew the guy, and the NFL took his credentials away. And now he's no longer can be on the sidelines for NFL games. He's banned forever, potentially. And so now he comes out with this video and talking about his story and his journey. And I think he did it very humbly, and he did it very classy. And so basically saying he's a free agent, he's looking for another job. I think he still works with Tyreek, but I think this is bad by the NFL. So it's not a curtain call because he got fired. It's a curtain call because of how he's handled it and what he's done and what he's got to experience, and I think he's going to be just fine. NFL used the video, too.
Yeah, they hit him up for if they could have his permission to use it, then they fire him for it. That's classic NFL.
That's tough right there.
And then you had people that are other sideline reporters, sideline photographers saying, you don't work for the Miami Dolphins, you don't work for Tyreek Hill, you work for the NFL when you're credentialed by the NFL. It's like, kick fucking rocks, dude. Like, I'm 19, 20 years old, and I get a moment that I know that's like why I'm here.
Right. You work for the NFL, it's fine, but he
I'm excited.
It's not his fault that Tyreek took his phone.
No, like you said, it wasn't planned.
No.
And it's just all around.
Better ball security.
No fun league.
I'm sure the video is fire.
I think he posted the video, didn't he?
I haven't seen the flip. I just saw him of the video because he didn't want to use his own content.
That was my curtain call because,
For all you kids out there, social media is powerful.
Powerful.
Learn
Very
it.
powerful. I mean,
Quit school.
That video's got like 16 million impressions right now.
Stay on Twitter. Stay on TikTok. Stay on Instagram. Quit school. Pursue your passion.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I knew where this thing was going. Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't, jump in before that.
That's all we got.
I did. Look at me now.
That's all we got for you today. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of the week. We will not have a show here on Friday. Obviously, it's December, so we are going to, Christmas, holidays, people are traveling, doing something.
Got an engagement party.
You got an engagement party. I am going to be in New York. It's my birthday tomorrow, so we will be celebrating.
With the Moffitt method.
I'll be, in the morning, but then I'll be celebrating in New York with my wife for the weekend. But enjoy the rest of your week.
Times Square.
Enjoy, huh?
What about Friday's Moffitt method?
Oh, I'm doing 2 tomorrow.
Oh, wow, double dip.
Yeah, I'm doing 2 days tomorrow.
It'll be nice and stiff on getting off that plane.
Oh yeah.
Nothing like F45.
Luckily the Friday of the Moffitt method is a little bit more. It's not heavy weights. Tomorrow, boy, it's
back at it.
It's upper body, but it is a lot. It's a lot.
Lock in.
It's a lot. I gotta lock it in.
You knock out those burpees today?
We'll be back live. I did not do that. We'll be back live on Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Talking about all the results that happened this past week on the SEC and the SEC Championship, Pac-12 Championship, Big 12 Championship, all the championship games that are happening.
Saints Lions.
The very Saints thing that'll happen though.
They're somehow gonna win.
They'll pull this one off.
And
look good doing it too.
The Lions lost last week. That doesn't look good for the Saints.
Did you see Derek?
Somehow Derek Carr's gonna throw for 350 and 5 touchdowns. I don't know. Somehow
that's gonna happen. 350 and no touchdowns, Bob.
That's probably
he's done that a couple times too. He's not afraid to do that.
That's probably what's gonna happen.
Did you see
red zone 4 times, 0 tutties?
Yeah, so
2 turnovers in the red zone last week. Not great.
Not great.
1 turned into a touchdown for the other team.
Double red zone.
Yeah.
Octobox.
14-point swing.
Did you see what he said to Nick Underhill today?
No, what did he say?
It's brutal.
What did he say?
He was like, you keep asking me the same questions about how we're going to change the offense or fix the offense. He goes, I'm going to keep telling you the same thing with a whole bunch of words that mean nothing because I don't want to tell you. And he's like,
what the fuck does that mean?
That means they don't know what they're going to do to fix the offense. They don't have an answer. He doesn't have.
We don't want to spill the secrets or the
That's what he said. He's like, he's like, I don't want to tell y'all. It's like,
okay,
cool.
Whatever you say,
brother in Christ.
Whatever you say. That's all we got for you today. Enjoy your Wednesday. Enjoy your week. We love you. See you on Monday.
Peace.
See ya.
See ya.